Okay, let's take another look at some of the updated progress on Starcrawler Terrain. So we have the Kabuki gang here. They've been painted up just quickly with contrast colors, and they're from the Zombicide Invader Special Edition Kickstarter bonus. I've got this regular floor tile, and I've got a couple of new tiles that I want to put next to it. I've got these blue oxygen room tiles, and they've got little white inserts, so they're in the black with the polarized with the spherical magnets and the little white inserts. And we have red security tiles. The newest version of these actually have a flat piece here. We'll show those in another video. They have a flat piece that says security on them. And so, yeah, if we wanted to kind of set our rooms up kind of like this, kind of set up. Now we have them all sort of clicking together here. That's kind of where we would kind of start. So the easiest thing to do is, let's add 4 walls. We'll start by adding some corners. So I'll just take these prefab corner pieces and I'll just clip them on. Okay, because we know that that's an exterior wall, we want to add a couple of single wall pieces. So these are the single wall pieces here. We'll just drop that in. We'll drop this one in here. We want this room to connect through to another room, so we'll leave it as it is. Let's just put our little gang in there for now. Now the next thing we can do is we can start to extend walls off of here, but the fastest way to do it, I found, is to use these corner pieces, the prefab corner pieces. I really like these because they're very solid and they have a lot of magnets in them. And so that would butt it up, and that would leave a full square in between here. Add 2 more corners. Okay, and that's already pretty solid. I can do a lot with that already. Just get these out of the way for a second. Now, I have another option here. The reason that we're looking at 2 different options here is because if we add a double wall here and a double wall here, by the time we start adding this up across the space of a board, this is going to be about 30 centimeters per wall. And typically the Zombicide tiles are about 25. That means that when you put this out on your tabletop, it's going to be a little bit bigger. I personally don't have a problem with that, but also want to try to find a way that can get a little bit closer to the real size. So if we use a half wall here, if we just connect this wall like that with a wall spaced door here, then we would be able to sort of cut out one of these 12.5 millimeter wall sections here. So when we do that, all we would do is we'd throw a wall onto there, and because that's an exterior, because let's say this is going to be a corner piece, then we'll grab one of our corners, right, like that. And then we'll grab a single piece and throw it in there. Now we have the exterior wall for that. We'll throw one in here like this. We'll throw another corner on here. These corners, there's only one polarity, but because they connect, because every other piece they connect to is a flippable magnet with where the polarity can flip. It doesn't actually matter. And then what we would do here, if we wanted to have a door here, I would take 2 single pieces. 2 single pieces and put them there like that, and then I can connect. Now I can connect another set of doors down there. I want to cover that with that. That's an exterior wall. So this other bucket here, grab one of these, slot that in, and I know I want a door here. Now 2 different types of doors. These are prototype pieces, but we have a door that fits here where there's 2 magnets. There's 1, 2 on each wall, 1, 2 on each wall. And this one connects that, so this is a big sort of heavy-duty door. And this magnet here, it has 4 spherical magnets that will connect to either wall, and it has 2 magnets on each end that will connect these 2 floors together. Because actually there's nothing magnetizing those together yet. So if I click that in there, that's now pretty solid. Okay, and then when I want to close a door, I just grab my door piece, and I just drop it in, and it stays in there with the magnets. There's little magnets in there that hold it in place. Okay. And so that way you can quickly open and close the doors in the set. So that's using a wall that's with 2 walls that are side by each other on the back. All right. So the other way to do it is to take one of these little half doors here like this, And I want to basically line this up so that the floor piece lines up like that. I'm going to drop it in there. This one has non-polarized or non-flipping magnets, so these are static magnets. But every piece it's connecting to has a flippable magnet, so it doesn't matter. It'll always be connectable polarity, and that will now connect here and here. And that gives me a fairly. I can move this piece around. It's pretty solid. Okay. And then obviously I would just continue that. I would add maybe a half one there, or else extend it out. So if I want to extend this one out, and then I drop one in here. So we don't have enough pieces printed off yet to kind of do all this. And you can mix and match them too, right? We can bring this piece up to here, like so, and throw a piece on there if we wanted to make this a solid wall. Just move our camera down here, we can see what we're doing. We do a solid wall like this, and then we just drop in two of these corners, and we're in business. And that piece is ready, and then the connector there will help hold that all in place. So you can see how quickly we can just quickly slap together a layout. Now the advantage is, this is something I wanted to kind of draw attention to here. Okay, so in this room here, I'm going to take this guy here because his gun sticks out a little bit. If I put him on this corner square here like this, you see that there is the space from the edge of his tile, so he's 25 millimeters, but there's this additional, 6 or almost 10 millimeters from here that allows you to like stick parts like his gun and stuff like that. All right, and so that if I would go into this wall here as an example, we'll just kind of come across. Let's move this across a little bit. This wall here, and I put him here. He's touching right on the wall. Right? Now this isn't necessarily a problem for this miniature, but one of the things with Zombicide Invaders is a lot of the creature characters, they have really big limbs that kind of stick out. So you want a little bit of extra space. So that's why the walls are kind of the height that they are. So the big tank guys, their arms will kind of tend to go over the top, and their tentacles will go over the top. But also, if we use this wall here, you can see that there's actually more space inside this room than there is inside this room. And one of the things that we learned from our first Zombicide Invader set was that you can run out of space in the rooms pretty quick. So if we line up our characters like this on these 25 mil squares, see we know we can get roughly 9 25 mil bases in here. Sometimes you get a lot more enemy models inside there, so there would be a little bit more space inside this room and this room, and this room here, and there'd be a little bit less space inside this room here. So that very quickly kind of shows you how we kind of slap together some rooms for Zombicide Invader and how this set would work for Zombicide Invader. We're going to experiment with some different setup pieces as well for Invader, because it is sort of primarily what the set was kind of designed to use. With thinking that what we may end up doing is use these corner pieces and use a 3-section wall with a door that slots in. Like you see this one here, the magnets, because of the way that this wall is offset, in the prototype version, the magnets are kind of centered towards the front, and they don't just kind of slot in as cleanly as I'd like. They do magnetize in, but they don't slot in as cleanly as I'd like. So thinking that maybe for Invader, each one of these is 3 walls, and instead of using these large prefab corners, that we would use a wall that's 3 pieces long, where the centerpiece is the door and it has little slots for it to just drop in, more like the classic set. That's probably the better way to go. And yeah, we have the 2-part printed pieces. This one will have a security logo here, and so you have the sort of the general colors of the rooms. And the next thing we'll be working on as well is hallways and corridors, and make sure that we can figure out how that works. One more thing to just kind of look at is the the way that we kind of plan this out and the software that we use to do that. But we'll look at that in another video. In another video, I'll show you how we work in Tinkercad, and why I think Tinkercad is actually secretly one of the best softwares to design this sort of thing, especially when you're 3D printing in real world space. So stay tuned. Maybe tomorrow will be about Tinkercad.